ethic. Got religious like a church session. Julie birthed a rap god, I am her blessing. Ha! Won't he do it? It's that holy music. They try to mute it, but I rebuke it. It's therapeutic. It was already written, so I don't gotta write it. I was already gifted, so you don't gotta like it. Showing me and I am not excited. Adam was tempted, it's crippling. He didn't want to bite it. Get off Instagram and get some discipline.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The One, the only show in the world dedicated to helping you help others. Today's segment is entitled Shielding the Black Woman. Before I get into that, I just want to quickly introduce the guests we have on the line all the way from Durham, North Carolina. We have Miss Erica Mitchell. Say hello, Erica.
Hi, hello.
Okay, great. And on Zoom, we have Dr. Lynette McWilliams from Michigan. Hello, Lynette.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, guys?
Good. In the room, we have, of course, myself, Mr. Jonathan, also Mr. Jonathan, that guy Harris.
What's going on?
We have Miss Yarde.
Hello.
And someone who really needs no introduction. As a matter of fact, we're not even going to introduce her.
I can hear the crowd right now.
Right. So what I'm doing, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
I am Jeanine.
Excellent. So once again, the title is called Shielding the Black Woman. And my personal opinion on this subject is, because what's been going on, women, especially on social media, they are saying that they're not being protected by the black man. I personally feel that this is nonsense. It's totally untrue. And I think that narrative exploded after the death of Breonna Taylor, because after her death, then it was George Floyd, and there was an international movement for George Floyd, but Breonna's kind of been on the back burner, and I see a lot of things related to that, and have people saying that, the black women really gets no justice. So let me ask you, Jonathan, you being the youngest, just getting fresh in the dating world. Mm-hmm. What's your opinion on that?
Oh, it is interesting. Let me tell you, from the black women I have dated and associated with, I can definitely say they're hurting, and for good reason. So I don't ever take anything away from them. And one of the things I had to do was I had to listen to them, not hear them. Because if I hear them, I'm just a part of the problem. I look at black women as queens. Because if I didn't, I take it from this standpoint. How could I respect my mother? She brought me into this world. So there's a level of sensitivity needed to listen to the black woman nowadays, and definitely provide action. Because from most of their situations, I wish I can say I get it. I wish I can say, look, I've been where you are, but I can't. So the biggest, okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the biggest thing I want people to realize is that, look, for me in the dating world, it is tough because I want that equal partner.
Right.
But also, I feel like I have to try harder to make sure I'm not causing them pain. And so for me, it's a struggle right now. And I want people just to realize, look, they're not being taken care of in the way they think they should be.
You know what, Jonathan, it's obvious that you're just pandering because we have 4 black women on the phone. So you're just saying what you need to say.
Absolutely.
For the things to work out. Let me ask you, Jeanine, do you feel, more specifically, do you feel there's ever been a time in your life where you felt just utterly unprotected by the hands of a black man?
I'd have to say my father. There's this misconception that if it's your parent, be forgiving, be accepting of repeat toxic behavior patterns. And that's where a lot of black women get their training for disrespect. Yeah, they get conditioned, let me say training, conditioning, for inconsistency, dishonesty, second-class treatment. So so with my mother, it was my father would be inconsistent or absent or anything like that. And it was always, baby, you need your father. And it's like, I need a father. I don't need that as a father, you know. From there, it started a cycle. The way people perceive you when you have a father that is not in the home as a woman, that's toxic in the home as a woman, inconsistent or abandons you altogether, it kind of, when you open up and you're vulnerable in your romantic dealings, men can kind of sometimes have, it's really society. I can't say it's men and women. Because you hear people say the jokes, you see the memes of making fun of women with daddy issues.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we drag them. We drag them.
Yes, y'all do.
And so that happens, and then, you know, there's societal things. There's things that happen out in the world. Sexual harassment, abuse. And I think as a black woman, we are different from other races because we're very equal to our men. How other races treat our men are very equal to how they treat us. So I don't think that's a blind spot, like in driving a vehicle. Mm-hmm. You know, for black men, that's a blind spot to them recognizing male privilege. They think, oh, well, we're getting the same, you know, treatment. And it's like, no, you still, at the end of the day, have male privilege on your side.
You mean as a black man?
As a black man.
So you still have one up on a black woman?
Yeah, all day. You know, statistically, wages reflect that. The justice system reflects that. Breonna Taylor killer is still not apprehended. I mean, how many black women have been incarcerated for protecting themselves under the law and heavily punished for it? How many? The new rash of memes you're seeing where black women are screaming they're not feeling protected is, I know you know of Megan Thee Stallion, the rapper. Mm-hmm. And what happened with her and Tory Lanez, another fellow rapper, and a guy she was dating. He shot her, I believe, twice in the foot. Mm-hmm. I may not be accurate. I haven't really been following the story closely.
Grazed her foot.
He grazed her foot, but in an attempt to shoot her and take her whole life from her. And I heard a disc jockey on a radio station say, well, if he did that, there's footage. It's almost like what's happening with the civil rights movement with whites admitting there's a problem. I think black men have that same blind spot because they benefit in a way from male privilege. So it's like, that can't be happening. That's not the thing. And it's like, yes, it is. And the disc jockey's like, well, if he did it, you know, they should drag him. And it's like, if he did it.
But let me say this.
There's a video.
The Tory Lanez Megan Thee Stallion conversation, I don't agree with simply because Tory Lanez is not what I consider foundational black American.
There you go.
He's from Canada and Caribbean. So what he do, that's them over there. That's the way they do things over there.
You would think so, but that disc jockey didn't say that. He said if he did it. Mm. When he's viewed as a black male, people are not really digging in depth of, oh, he's not an American black male. He's a black male nonetheless.
Okay, let me ask you something, Dr. Lynette. I'm going to read the statement. I got a quote that says, the most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. Do you feel that's true, or you feel it just makes a great quote for social media?
You know, I really feel it's true to a certain extent. And, you know, I was thinking about this yesterday after we got off the phone. I'm like, in my view, from the 1940s and 50s and 60s, where the black man was the head of the house, no questions asked. He made sure the house had everything it needed, food and shelter. The woman didn't have to worry about that. And I'm not going back to say that that's how it should be now. But what happened in the DNA from then to now, where you got a man that's dressing like a man and taking care of the house, to going to getting, he has 7 earrings in his ear, to tight jeans on, and his hair is longer than mine. How do I feel protected when you come to pick me up for the date and you look better than me?
Talk about it.
I have an issue with that, and I immediately get stomachs. I got the stomach flu. Oh, I'm sorry, I ate something. I'm going back in the house because I am not under any way.
I'm good.
Anywhere with you, and I don't feel protected. Now, how can I hide behind you and you can barely move with them tight jeans on? You know, but going back to, I think a lot of you guys have self-esteem problems because we now are making more money than you. And I hate to say it, we are smarter than you since I am the doctor. We are doing a lot of things that some of the black men aren't doing right now. And it's not that we want to, it's that the things has changed and we are able to do those. We have people that fought for us to have our rights. But that still shouldn't have changed the fact that you were a man first and foremost. We are a helpmate. There's no way and no how that I should be protecting you. No way, no how. And you got men wearing dresses. I want to inbox him and ask him where he get it from because I'm like, what the hell you doing? You know, I just don't understand. You know, your braids longer than mine, all kind of stuff. What is going on? So how do I feel protected with a man like that? You're asking me, do I feel protected? My question to you is, why do you think that you can act like that and we're supposed to feel protected?
That's the Erica. You still on the line?
Yes, I am.
And I have a question because, and I've heard women, especially from this neck of the woods, for lack of a better word, they have the assumption that men in the South makes for better mates. That men in the South are more disciplined. They're more focused on their woman in a relationship. They're the ones who, work all day and bring home the bacon and cut the grass and chop the wood and feed the chickens and milk the cows. Do you feel that, from your opinion, do you feel that the men in the South as a whole act the way they should act when it comes to relationships and a woman?
Not now, I do not. I think in previous generations, older men had a different set of values and a different set of cultural standards than what we find now. And I have to say that I, as a black woman, for the most part, with the exception of some family members and friends who are like family members, do not feel as if black women are protected by black men. And living in North Carolina all my life, I don't see that as being something that men in the South now find important. Their thing is, y'all are equal to us, and y'all ought to be able to do, and what can you do for me? And while I agree, that the women are capable of doing things, I think that men use that as an excuse to have become lax now in their manly responsibilities.
Okay, let me make sure I understand this correctly before I go to you, Miss Yarde. So what I'm hearing from New York to Michigan to North Carolina is that men just aren't stepping up to the plate. Would all of y'all agree?
Boom.
Yes.
Boom.
Fully.
So it's not in one city. Would everyone agree that it's national?
Yes. It's
Yes,
a black
it's
American
national.
male problem.
Okay, let me ask you something, Miss Yarde. I totally disagree with what they're saying because I think a lot of times you take individual situations and lump all black men together, like
Generalization.
Yeah, none of them are any good. Even though I'm hearing from 3 different states and everybody pretty much saying the same thing. First, do you agree with them? And second, what do you personally feel needs to change for our black men that's listening?
Well, for me, I believe it starts at home. I have my father. He gave me the foundation that I needed. He was there. He was like my number one supporter. Even when I think I had to tell him I was pregnant and in college, he went to all my doctor's appointments with me. So my father was and has been like my guy. Everybody doesn't have that foundational framework to begin to build from. The issue that I have as being a mother now of 2 sons is we have a lot of women who are being slack when it comes to their foundational framework with these young men. They babying them. They're basically doing everything for them.
Making them more feminine.
Yeah, making excuses for them. And then when you look at the entanglements, who you get entangled with, one of my students told me that their mom told them that they had to eat this charge because her boyfriend was going to get a felony, so you just going to have to eat that because he'll get more time than you. So again, as much as we want to look at the other side, I think that we're looking at it from the wrong view. We have to look at it how can we together, because the Bible says 2 are better than 1. When we look at it from a us against them versus how are we going to grow and glow together. That's where the problems and the deficits happen. Even though we may be making more money, the problem is when we emasculate men as women and then you want them to protect you, but you talking to them like they garbage underfoot, but yet you want to act like you the rib from the side. You got to choose which fight you're trying to do. And I think sometimes we as women with this national rights and movement and the feminist movement has really defecated on relationships. It has defecated on authenticity when it comes to women understanding when we talk about roles for men, our role is women. Even though we may make more money, I can still respect you and give you that respect as a man. And I can't be slapping you all in your face and telling you, nigga, you ain't this, that, and the third. And then when he backhands you from here to next year, now it's like, oh, I'm a woman, but I should have the right to slap you. I should have the right to check you. I should have the right to talk you down. But then they have feelings and rights too. So it's kind of like this Me Too movement has really offset, in my opinion, a very false narrative for a lot of women who wanted to kind of equal the playing ground. I don't like you. I'm pissed off because you chose her instead of me. So I'll use this Me Too movement to level up. So now I could go back and lie and say that you did something to me, or I could agitate the situation. And I don't ever tell the whole story. I'll tell my story to be victimized. That's the problem that we run. Because when real women have real issues, they're running a race because you got a lot of women who have abused the system to where now people looking at you like the last 30 women that basically defecated on our system. So I believe it's a true going back to what the Lord created for both men and women, that we're supposed to work together, that it shouldn't be us against them, and that we should understand that although one may be stronger here and weaker there, how do we deal with that imbalance, so to say?
Wow. Okay. I agree. Dr. Lynette, let me ask you this question. Do you think that a time can come, and I mean soon, that the household or the role of the man and woman can be balanced? And not can, because of course it can be. Do you think there's a time where men as a whole, whether they're in North Carolina, New York, or Michigan, say, hey, we're going to do what we're supposed to do. We're going to step up. Do you think that change will ever come?
Yeah, if they mama tell them, because it sounds like they won't do nothing about it themselves.
There you go.
It's crazy to me that why we has to pacify you. Okay, so here we go. We the strong black woman. We have, I'm just going to say hypothetically, we have this guy who's doing nothing. We making the decisions. We bringing home the bread. But you feel some type of way about the way we're doing. So now we have to protect our family. Now you're upset. Why won't you uplift yourself like we do all the time? Yep. We have single mothers who are out here doing it. And nobody has to lift us up. We recognize an issue and we take care of it. Why can't the black man do that for himself? I mean, I'm meeting so many guys that need to have so much reassurance, and it's crazy to me. I don't understand it for the likes of me. Do you like this or do you like that? I'm like, make a decision, man. Did your mama teach you how to make a decision? Is it Bible in the circle? Do you have uncles that you can talk to? What is going on? Take those slacks off. Some is cutting your circulation, bro. Get it together.
Oh,
right,
my
let it hang.
Get it together. And Mr. Powell, it is kind of crazy to me. You're asking us, do we feel protected as a black woman? I'm going to throw it back at you. What have you done to make us feel protected, sir?
Well,
No, you said, well, I'm going to get this to you then.
I know.
Help us realize, so maybe it is just occasional here or there, but I want to know what you black men are going to do to make us feel protected, because you coming at us with them old fake Gucci shoes on and that not gonna make me feel protected, because I know for sure they sell them at the hair store.
No,
so I know it's not real. So what are you going to do to make us feel that we can trust you, make us feel that we can put decision makings in your hand? It's sad when somebody come home and they say, hey baby, the headlight out. Okay, you know what I'm saying? What are you gonna do? What are you guys gonna do? You guys, you point us to us. Y'all the men, help us with the solution. We got us. We got us. As you can see that. You got some strong black women on here. We got us. So the problem should be, what are y'all doing? What's going on?
Well,
Please. We got so many doing COVID. I've seen so many Dodge Chargers and them Rockwell jeans or whatever they are. I can't even pronounce them. And fake things, it's ridiculous. What did you do for your house? Where that mindset come from? Where it come from?
Street.
Well, go ahead, Jonathan. I saw you.
Hello?
You wanted to tackle this.
well, this is what I have to question, and she directed this question to you. But here's what I want to ask: is that you have black sons, you have a whole family, you have a job. So literally to ask another man to be accountable for someone else's shortcomings is where sometimes I always have to disagree, because he's trying to build up his own kings. He's trying to build up his own household. So if he's not, essentially doing it for the next person, is he wrong for that? Maybe he just has a lot on his plate. Maybe it's just one of those things.
I said his household. His household.
His household.
What is he doing for his household? Yes. Because he has a son, I'm just saying, he has a son, he has nephews, he has godsons. Teach them to be men, because them the ones that the people are dealing with now. We as stronger women, we ain't having it. I'm sure, sisters, them red flags wave, we not looking at nothing past one wave and it's a wrap.
Right.
At this day and age,
Okay.
I'm sure we're not doing that. But I'm just saying, as a man, what are you doing to help bring the next generation along? Because somebody dropped the ball in the 80s and the 90s. And
it was a drug ball.
Right.
Playing with
The CIA.
Decimated the black family.
The 80s.
Go ahead, Jonathan. Let you finish your thought.
So then my question will probably be, can you allow the black man that's in the household to take the lead without, putting any judgment into it? Can you just, take your seat for a while? We're not asking you to be complacent. Can you let him lead without putting your 2 cents in for that moment? If you want a black male to respond to a black male figure, he's gonna need that guidance from a black male. As best as single women teach black men how to be black men, there's no other person that can teach a real black male how to be a strong, independent black man. Is a father figure, is one that's gonna say, "Hey, I know what you're going through. I've been in that situation."
It has to be another black male. It can't be a black woman.
Absolutely. So when you're preaching like, this is what a black man does, this is what a black man does, and yet, okay, he can go out into the street and say, "Hey, I've seen another black man, say, maybe selling drugs, getting that easy money," and he may look up to him as an easier influence than you for that particular moment.
Let me, Erica, this question is for you.
Sure. Before you ask your question, though, I just wanted to say that listening to your conversation regarding can a black woman step back and let a man be a man, I believe that that's easier to do when you see the man make the first stride. It's easier to step back when he is initially doing the things that he is supposed to do, or that you expect out of a man. And I think that the issue comes in where it's not a lot of times that men are not willing. It's sometimes they don't know. And when we have to constantly pry and guide them to actually, step up and do things as a black woman, it's frustrating, and that causes you to feel like you aren't being supported, that you always have to be the supporter. And I understand it's a give and take situation. Men and women, we have to support each other because there are so many other outside things that are coming at us. We can't do that, though, if as a black woman, you're always having to be the one to keep the household in line, to keep things running, to keep things going, always being the motivator.
Somebody please.
The man needs to actually be the person that's going to be the motivator. And I see that that's not always happening. A lot of times in the field where I work in, because I work at social services, you'll see women who come down and they'll need the services. And I'm the type of worker where I think if you need the services, I'm going to do my best to make sure that you get everything you can. But something that was said to me recently by a client was, I can't put my baby daddy in the system.
Mm-hmm.
But what I need for you to understand is you're putting your child in the system. You're protecting the man and saying you're not going to put him on your paperwork, but your child, you will. And that's a problem. That's something that needs to be fixed. A black man shouldn't put the black woman in that predicament to begin with, where there's a choice. Either I tell on my man and say he's not doing the things that he needs to do, or he's unable to right now, because in this economy, let's face it, a lot of men can't. And I'm unwilling to come out and say he's not in the position to do what needs to be done to uphold our household. But I have no problem coming in and getting the help and putting my children in the same system that I say I don't want the man in. And I understand that's a struggle for women, and I just wish more men understood. That's where they put the pressure on the woman, and that's why a lot of our anger and resentment comes out towards the black man, and we feel like we're just simply not protected.
Well, let me ask this, and anyone and every one of the ladies can chime in on this. The hardest job in the world is being a black man. There's so many obstacles, from just going back to Jim Crow to now to police brutality to health care to being at does that account for anything?
I think.
I mean, your mind is not just saying, okay, I know what he's going through, so let me just chill. Because
Oh, my God.
I think. Can I?
All right, Jeanine, you go first. Hold on, Dr. Lynette, hold on. Jeanine, you go first, and then Lynette. Go ahead.
Accountability. You're right. Yarde's right. It's not a tit for tat. It's not us versus them. But it's only that narrative when we're saying and bringing up with the problems we see in black men and the problems they're struggling with. It's not considered when we talk about the problems we're having with black men. There's a lot of double standards, and it's beyond the black community. It's really societal. We have to realize we've been given a narrative for being black women and men for a long time.
Right.
Just like we don't expect men nowadays to be the breadwinner and take care of the whole household. What you think making your girl take care of the baby, do the mothering thing by herself, because that's a woman's work, working, schooling, juggling, so it's exhaustion. You'd be bitter if you're exhausted too, if you're tired too. And if we sit back and let men lead and they lead us into a pitfall, you babied him. And you get victim shamed for it. For real. I've done it. I've been a ride or die. Oh, I'm going to help my man because that's the black family. I'm more about the black family than he was. He out building families other places.
There you go.
And let's talk about gold digging, because let's be real. And I'm a doctor. I got to correct you on something. If y'all look it up, the wage disparity is growing. Poverty is growing for the female-led black family. So we are not making more than black men, and we haven't for a long time, but that is a common misconception. If you pull the numbers will tell you our wages, we're the highest educated in the country, lowest paid in wages. That's racism right in your face. Yeah. So a lot of these men, they hear that rhetoric from us. We get paid more. No, we don't. We think we do. Because we think Tyrone ain't working and we working. But if Tyrone entered that workforce, he'd surpass us in wages.
Right, so I see you're saying the women might be making more money because they're actually working. Yeah. But it's only because majority of the men isn't working.
And let's talk about womanizing. It's a real issue. Not everybody raised their sons to be independent. A lot of us raised our girls to do that.
But not the boys.
But not our boys. And being real, the touch base on the Me Too movement, rape is real. Rape culture is real. Black women are being raped. That's another area we're not being protected because we're sexualized. So another misconception is, hey, black women are sexual creatures, overly sexual, and they're lying on these men. No, the rape is real, and we need to acknowledge that. We need to acknowledge homophobia. We need to stop telling black women that they can't raise sons. Correction, a bird female can't raise a son. A well-sounded woman, many great men in this country have been raised by a woman. So that's a lie. A human is a human is a human, and a man can tell a woman how to be a woman, and they think it's their God-given entitlement and right to tell us how to be women, a woman can raise a man. I've seen it done. I've seen great men come from a woman. If you look at our culture, if you look at our African cultures, pharaohs were not just males, they were female. You never heard Africans saying, well, you a woman, you can't lead. That's an Anglo-Saxon Western belief. They're the ones that had that gender problem with their women. That became introduced to us being up under their clout, being in slavery and being influenced by their culture and being propagated. So a lot of how the white agenda, we always talk about homosexuality is a white agenda. No, misogamy is a white agenda. Getting you to go against your womb, your black womb, is the white agenda. If you want to be real about it. So
well, I don't agree with
it. It can't be us versus them. You're right. But let's be real here. If rape culture wasn't a thing, we wouldn't tell single black women, watch your kids around your boyfriends. We don't tell black men to do that. And there's plenty of black women that are pedophiles.
Yeah.
There's plenty of black women that are homicidal. What about the local woman that killed that baby and threw it in the dumpster while the man was going out to get a pizza because it was her stepchild? Women do stuff, but the societal things. Oh, you're a single woman. You're not allowed to date because y'all pick wrong men. Y'all pick molesters. There's coaches that molest, pastors that molest. Mm-hmm. But all we say and think about is, oh, that's a single black mom with a boyfriend issue. No, that's a pedophile issue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's so many misconceptions, and we got to be honest about it. And even if we're mothers with sons or a son, I raised a boy before I raised a girl. And we don't have to sell out as women. We don't have to say, oh, well, women lie now. No, I know it's a rape's a thing because my nephew talk about his friends and little stuff and little tricks they pull. Boys are still doing stuff like getting girls drunk and putting Molly in their liquor and all this other crazy stuff. Look at the girl that went to the party with the young man and he shot her because another boy in the party hugged her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's deep. It's deeper than just black people. It's psychological. It's societal. And it trickles down. Poop rolls downhill. And until we wrap our minds and be honest, till we look up numbers, till we research thoroughly before we jump on the fake news and the memes and making that the source of our ideas and our ideologies, and we are thorough, like our ancestors in Timbuktu were researchers and scholars, meaning we read more than one source. You can't just use Facebook and media for your source. You have to go a-looking.
Right.
So look for it.
And,
But
now back to you, Dr. Lynette. With the plight of black men and what we're going through, don't you think that, we should get at least the next 10, 15, 20 years to just do us and y'all just accept what's going on?
Absolutely not.
Lynette, are you still there? Oh, she is disconnected? Okay. So let me ask you, Miss Yarde, don't you think we deserve a break?
No, we need to put our foot to the pedal. And I wrote down some things. I said hearing, heeding, and healing. I don't care what nobody says. Historically speaking, if you look at anything in history, black people were not, they did not institute homosexuality. That was a Eurocentric, Greek style. Anything that you want to learn about a people, if it's not written, look at their art. There's no art that anybody can show me. As an educator for 12 years, I have taught my students and I showed them. We have to understand culturally where things begin to bear sheath. And when we fail to see that because of our inability to heed and heal because of our hurt, one of the things that I talk to my students about all the time is you have a big group of people who are hurting. And my father has told me hurt people. And when we allow our hurt to lead with, and that turns us and turnkeys our passion, then we run the risk of doing the very same thing that we ostracize the other for. So one of the biggest things that we have to do, we have to understand, one of the books I did a class on is Love and Respect. And I would encourage anybody to read that book. The love that she needs, the respect he deserves. And the thing is, we love each other the wrong way. That's the problem right there. You love a man through respect. The respect I show him is me showing my love.
Right.
The love he shows me through providing provision and protection is how he is showing me love. The problem is too many times we like screaming because of the wrong song. You know that song R-E-S-P-E-C-T was written for a man. Mm-hmm. And the fact that that is something women scream, you screaming the wrong thing. You don't need respect. The man needs the respect. The woman needs to be loved by show. It's an action. The respect. And that's the biggest thing. When we got the roles mixed up and confused, just like rape is an issue for men, if a man goes and tries to report a rape, they're looked at as being sissified, as talking about their rape.
Right.
But a woman is glorified for talking about hers. So if we can't, we got to level out the playing field, because I know a lot of men who are scarred and running through women like draws because they were, as we talk about being overly sexualized, we have a lot of young men who were introduced to sexual experiences by older women, but we don't see that as an issue. We don't talk about that in the Black community. So there's a lot of missed marks because of societal norms. And when we look at worldviews and biases and how that interrelates.
Well, also, the whole thing, going back to the phrase that was used a little earlier about ride or die, I have a problem with that, simply because when you think in a relationship term of somebody that's ride or die, it's usually the female that it's referring to. So
Indeed.
that is depicting the knowledge that the woman is the one who has to take all of the bad and still be the one to stick with the relationship and have it progress and keep going forward, while the man gets to do whatever he wants. It's time for the man to be a ride or die for the woman.
That is true.
The nature of things. And as long as that phrase ride or die permeates society, women are going to feel as if they have to be the one making all of the sacrifices, and men make the visual gains from the relationship.
So that's great. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jonathan.
No, so to touch on your point about ride or die, I basically want to ask this question to all the women that we have right now. Can men handle that? Because when I consider ride or die, I'm basically considering that you're going to call me out for what I do wrong. And I don't believe, a lot of men can handle that, because usually we take it as an
we don't want to
attack.
hear that. We ain't trying to hear that.
Maybe I'm different, but I always said, if you call me on my wrongdoings, if you match my energy, I'm going to respect you.
You really on the women's side today.
No. But
You
I don't think that's a true narrative.
As a man, if you cannot handle that at home, how can you handle that in the world? How can you handle that on the workforce? How can you stand up for yourself and be confident in who you are and what you bring to the table on the outside if you can't do it on the inside?
Right. And Ms. Yarde, I want you to finish your thought.
Yeah, and I would say even deeper, like what you said earlier about how when men will go around here and have a cherry picking experience while you're married or in a relationship, but the second you have one experience today,
it's
32,
a major problem.
It's like you done destroyed. They out there on the hilltop screaming like this, like my whole
about
life.
To jump off a bridge.
So when you talk about the
double standards
and the double standard, see, the thing is you can't take what you give out. And I said, now, if you want to talk about leveling the field, then you got to also understand the harm that you impose upon the woman. And I'll say it from a married perspective, as being a married woman. And when your protector inflicts harm within another woman feeling like she could flex on you, and then you like, okay, then let me call Tyrone, and my Tyrone is gonna really hurt and devastate your whole life story, because I'm not going to level down. Because most times when men cheat, they level down. I'm gonna level up, and I'm gonna defecate on your whole life story. So when you do that one time, they can't even let the life. They can't let it go. And the thing is, you introduce this, and this hurt. It goes back to that cycle. Men don't ever want to experience the hurt that they sometimes inflict because they're fearful of having to sit with their own issues that they don't want to acknowledge. And just like women have things that they have in their bags, in their carry-on bags, so do men. And they try to mask it with certain things and saying, well, I'm the man beating on the chest. No, you show me you're the man by your ability to provide, protect, be real, and accept criticism just like you give it. And if you telling me I need you to do X, Y, and Z, well, what is it that you need to do too? Because it can't be a one way where I'm looking at you, but I can't ever feel comfortable And I always got to wonder, like, how he going to feel. I got to massage his ego. If I say this, then I'm not being a woman. I'm being too much of this. So now I got to pussyfoot around it, or I'm walking on eggshells. How you feel today? You feeling okay? I just want to
And that's why I don't believe in gender roles anymore. I do not believe that's been my problem with Christianity and religion. We tell women they're second class, and it gets taken out of context.
Who said that? Because they lying to you.
It wasn't.
No, I was like, because I know at my church, my daddy will never tell you that. That's a lie. So whoever
It's not
said
something that we got to understand. A lot of things aren't flat out said.
Like an
They're
unwritten rule.
indirect. It's an unwritten, like the bro code.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
Yes.
written rule that women are second. I don't care how many churches let you get in that pulpit. You're second.
Right. Yes, Dr.
Okay.
Lynette.
It's a lot of churches that won't let women get
Okay,
in pulpits.
today.
But I wanted to go back to where you said when women are going through something, you said, do the man say, oh, give me a break? If I was in the studio, I would have literally lifted the bottom of your chair up and tipped you over. Because where do you come in and say, oh, my God, I'm just saying this is from a man who can't lead. And whatever woman decided to stay with that man for whatever reason, you have children together, you have 20 years, who cares? But at what point do you say, she's working hard, she's trying to keep the family together, she is trying to install some values in my son and in my daughter, when will I give her a break?
Listen, and here's a
Because
question.
let me tell you something. I'm a property manager, and I'm going to go here on you. I see women that come in to my property who are broken, who are crying, who are running from these so-called men who are not doing anything for them. I'm going to give you an example. One young lady came in and she said her guy was beating her up, was just, beating her up. And they were at a store and a guy beat him up. And I asked her, did she get his number? Because next time he beats you up, you need to call him. Because see, he didn't bump his chest up to him. I'm a man, but you go home and you beat your wife up in front of your kids. And then you wanna say that we're too hard on you. Like I said, sis, did you get his number? Or you need to sucker around that block a couple times. Maybe he's a commenter at that store, and get his number. Because when you decide to leave, that's who you need to call. But for you to say, give you a break, we got it hard, man. We taking care of you and them kids and working. And like Sis said before, you can go the same job that I have, and you're going to get paid more. But we're not complaining about it. We're making it work.
Right. I agree.
So
I
again,
agree.
when are you going to step up to the plate and be the man that you're supposed to be? We should, like she said, we have to push people. Why do we have to ego stroke you? Ego stroke us sometimes.
Amen.
Tell us, how much you appreciate us. See that we're trying to hold some things together. Instead of wearing our wigs when we at work and we come home catching you in our guys. Do something.
When she said that, I thought of Yarde. I thought of you, Yarde. And when you said something big,
instead of wearing our
you
wigs
said
at
a
work
dime.
while
You
we at
dropped a
work.
dime in here. You said hurting people hurt people. That's the root of all of this. We've been hurting people for so long. And what makes me so disgusted is we fight each other.
Yep.
So basically what you're saying is not the man's fault. We're just all traumatized. And so we need to come
I'ma
across
tell
a
you-
level playing field.
You know what?
Is that
Yeah,
what
you're
I'm
right.
hearing?
You're right. It's societal.
Yeah, it is.
And what she
Thank
said
you.
about
Thank
rape
you.
culture, it is men involved. Women do rape. How many men I've dated that are sexual fiends?
Yep.
As a result, they're hypersexual as a result of early childhood rape.
Yep.
And we tell men that when they get butt when they're young, that makes you the man. You the man. No, that baby, you got raped.
Yeah.
Right,
That's
it's
what
a
that
badge
is.
of honor when you're young.
And
that
I
happens to you.
can't say that the sissifying that we give them really comes from women. Men clown men. You can't be no man
Yeah.
and tell your homeboys you got raped.
That's right.
Right.
I've had men cry and tell me they got raped in my relationships with them. I dated a guy. I had to stop dating him because he's bipolar as a result in PTSD. So he would have flashbacks, and like some women that have been raped, they have a hard time sexually, because they have flashbacks, because that's a memory trigger for them.
Yeah.
That's how the trauma occurred sexually. And it was like that with him. And it was his uncle. And he trusted me enough to tell me that happened to him as a little boy, and his mother knew about it and let it happen.
You know
Okay.
what? And could I just say one quick thing?
Yeah, we're going to let you close it out.
The fact that you said that, I had a number of men that I knew that were introduced to sex by other older women. And now they have become like mega minds out here because of the fact that they didn't know what to do with that situation. They didn't know how to put it, like, where do I go? How do I tell it? Because my guys is telling me this is a badge of honor, but inwardly I'm feeling away and I don't know how to bring words to that. And one of the biggest issues is communication. That is the breakdown. And when you talk about the lack of protection, it is because on both men and women's side, we have a hard time really communicating because of trust, being afraid and fearful of really being transparent without wondering, is this person going to use this against me when we break off or maybe not see something eye to eye?
Right.
So I have to keep this exterior. I got to put on this front because the front has helped me to survive. Being vulnerable has got me caught up. So I rather survive than be vulnerable. And now you're in a marriage and now you're trying to break down barriers and walls and chests and everything else, both sides. So how do you get that? And then you got children on top of that.
Right.
You need an outside source.
Yeah.
Yana Van Zant, when she got her little show, and she worked with a white couple, and they were going through sexual issues. The husband was emotionally neglecting his wife and all that. And the root of it was a molestation that happened to him when he was a little boy. A family friend told him, come, let's get ice, and raped him in the 7-Eleven bathroom. That man had been hiding that all those years.
Wow.
All those years. So it's a lot of men out here with trauma.
Yep.
And we got to heal them up. And
Right,
it's not
right,
us.
exactly. You guys got to heal us up.
Yeah,
we're going to close out with that. It's up to the black woman to heal us up.
What?
Well,
Oh, my God.
Thank you for coming back to that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for today. I want to thank Jeanine. I want to thank Jonathan, that Guy Harris, Miss Yarde, Dr. Lynette, and Erica. We definitely are going to have a part 2 to this because I see there's a lot more that we need to uncover. Once again, thank you for tuning in. One mission, one family, one love, and we're out.
It is all set. I found my pace. Now these brush me. Got $1 million smile. Started with some buck teeth. Show you how to get it now. Bet you niggas trust me. Young black with a gift. Must be. Oh, we got new names. You gotta add with a gift. Add with a gift. Add with a gift. Oh, we got new names. You gotta add with a gift. Add with a gift. Add with a gift. Like Nancy with a gift. T-Dan with a gift. T-Y with a gift. B-Will with a gift. Shia with a gift. Kyle with a gift. Claude with a gift. We all with a gift. Like